People are doing everything with CSS nowadays. Animations, games, paintings, arts, if they are not similar, and even 3D models. Okay, that makes sense because nobody wants to sit through a zillion year Blender tutorial. Instead, they use CSS. But it was never supposed to be this way. As I mentioned, the early days of CSS was way different from today's modern CSS, using which you can pretty much solve any global issue. So you might have a question, what was CSS actually meant to do? For that, we had to borrow Marvel's time machine and head back to early days of web. Around 1990, when the web was a digital newspaper with fewer photos and more pop-up ads. HTML handled everything. For example, using font tag, you set the font size and color or BG color to add color. But for layouts, it used tables. IYK, YK. In short, it was messy, complex, inefficient, and a living nightmare for maintenance. So to fix this problem, in 1994, Hicken VM Lai introduced the idea of CSS to the world. The primary goal, HTML would provide the structure and CSS would handle styling. With this idea in mind, in December 1996, CSS1 was introduced with font colors, text alignment, margins, borders, and padding. It was super basic and only supported on your Windows 95 by Internet Explorer 3 and its arch rival, Netscape Navigator. Time was flying. Somebody's daughter was still watching cable. So let me ruin that. Boom! Netflix was born. But don't keep watching it because time is still flying and we enter May 1998. CSS2 was introduced with big improvements like positioning, media types, Z-index, tables, etc. However, browser support was still inconsistent. And Houston, we have a problem. Layout design was a nightmare. If you ask anyone who survived the dot-com bubble bust, they will tell you some really creepy stories about tables that were used by placing content in rows and columns. Creating complex design was a dream, literally. And this wasn't the only problem. Even for a simple, millennials anxiety-triggering throbber and other animations on the web without JavaScript, it was mission impossible. But time can't wait. It keeps ticking. Google was introduced to the world by some college nerds. Okay, I take my words back. Clinton was out there showing his presidential res in the office. So let's fast forward. Boom! We entered 2004. CSS 2.1 was introduced, a more reliable version of CSS, and many browsers started supporting it. Some issues were fixed, but there wasn't too much of improvement. So years went by, the first iPhone was dropped. Your favorite late night craving website was created, and unemployment started rising faster than global warming. And to fix that, YouTube was born. Thank you. And that's how we entered 2011. CSS3 began to roll out as a collection of modular specification, enabling advanced styling and interactivity. The rounded corners that pinch our eyes today on every damn site were introduced then. And not just that, shadows, transition, animation, gradients, and finally, Flexbox to fix the tables problem. And the modern web was here. Browsers finally adapted to these new features, which meant you didn't have to have multiple browsers to access multiple sites. Then fast forward to 2012 to 2016, the era when your favorite content creation website was born. And a time when smartphones became essential for for browsing the internet. And responsive design became essential because unlike millennials, Gen Zs won't wait for a throbber to do a full spin. Frameworks like Bootstrap made CSS much easier to work with. Then came preprocessors like Sass and Lass. You can write in Sass or Lass and it gets compiled into normal CSS that browsers can understand. With these tools, web design started to look more elegant and professional. And then came the internet revolution era. 2017 to COVID. CSS Grid was introduced, a total game changer for layout design, finally letting us do real two-dimensional layout without weird hacks or heart attacks. Around this time, CSS Houdini also arrived, giving devs low-level access to CSS engine to create custom styles and effects. And then we enter the era from 2021 to brain rot. CSS became invincible with 3D transforms, keyframe animation, clip path for crazy shapes, scroll animation, and even painting APIs. Stuff that once needed JavaScript or Flash, CSS can now handle all by itself. CSS became a lone wolf. And that's what we call evolution or character development. So, what we learn from this story? If you subscribe and join my Discord server, link is in the description, I will be a successful entrepreneur YouTuber. Bye.